Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Mesh Seibel, and this is Ask Dr. Mesh on Facebook Live. It's Thursday night at 9 p.m., and so I'm here every week, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, to answer your questions related to women's wellness, perimenopause, menopause, etc. And I'm excited to be here with you this evening. Well, it's been an exciting day. I started out earlier today with seeing some patients, and then later on today I had an interesting interview about hot flashes on Sirius Radio, and it was a very nice interview. We had some interesting callers there from different parts of the country, and it's kind of fun hearing what people have to say because things are different parts of the United States. But the thing that's the same is everyone is struggling with the most common symptom of menopause, maybe the most visible symptom of menopause, and that is hot flashes. Well, related to that, I had someone call in or write in to me right before this show earlier today. Her name is Joanne, and she was struggling with hot flashes. Let me read to you what she had to say, and we'll start off with this, and then I want to go in and start talking with you later on about how summer and the hot days and so forth are going to affect hot flashes, and then I want to talk a little bit about what you can do about it, and also some of the alternative approaches and then some of the more standard ones. So here we go. First of all, Joanne is saying, hi, I'm not sure exactly where I am in perimenopause or if I'm in menopause. And she says she's 48 years old and she had a partial hysterectomy. Now for most people, that's not a real medical term, but a partial hysterectomy for most people means that they had their uterus removed, but they have their ovaries still in. So you don't have any bleeding, but you still have your ovaries. And she says that she had it done at age 40, so that was 8 years ago, due to fibroids, ovarian cysts, and nonstop bleeding. She says, I still have my ovaries. I've been experiencing a multitude of symptoms on and off over the last year or so. Vaginal dryness, yeast infections, lack of energy, and weight gain. So these are pretty common symptoms, right? I mean, a lot of people have these things. And the timing that has been happening, the thing that's been happening most recently has been hot flashes around the clock. Well, you know that's terrible. That is really got to be miserable. And she says, I have tried prescription estrogen-based products in the past and had to stop them due to many side effects. Unfortunately, we don't know what those side effects are, so I can't comment on that because some are clear as to what to do and some are less clear, but we don't know what it is. And she says, since the hot flashes are getting pretty bad, what's the best way to get some relief and what am I to do now? Well, Joanne, let's deconstruct your question because there's a lot going on here. First of all, hot flashes are the commonest symptom of women at 80%, and as a result, they also can be pretty bad. Some people are having milder ones, but some people are having more moderate or severe ones, meaning that when they have them, it disrupts them. They've got to stop what they're doing because the heat is great. Now, she had her hysterectomy 8 years ago, so this is interesting because we know that if you had your uterus out and your ovaries are left in, you would think, well, I got my ovaries, right? And since I don't have a period, I don't know if I have periods. I don't have periods because I don't have a uterus. There's no way to have a period. But what about your hormones? Well, measuring hormones with a blood test would give you a lot of information, but also after 8 years, it's pretty clear that the blood supply to the ovaries has been affected as a result of the removal of the uterus because some of the same arteries that go to the uterus also go to the ovaries. So by 8 years, and actually by 7 years, everybody who's had a hysterectomy is going to be in menopause almost 100%. So we know that she's probably in menopause. And she says that she's got all these symptoms, the libido, the vagina, the dryness, the lack of energy, all this energy and fatigue. These are very common symptoms of menopause. And she says now she's got these hot flashes around the clock. So she needs some help. But what to help her with is not entirely clear, because we do really, to help her really effectively, we do need more history than we have here. But we have enough at least to know more than likely she's in menopause, and more than likely she needs some treatment. But what kind of treatment, I can't say, because she had, she says, some side effects, but I don't know what they were. So I can't say that. But I can say that if you have treatments like this, symptoms like this, that there are things that you can be doing. And if you're interested, I do have for you something called the Hot Flash Rescue Kit. And if I was trying to see if I had a card that had it written on it, but I don't see it here. But if you go to hotflashrescuekit.com, for less than $20, I have an online program. It's about an hour long, and it gives you all the printouts and videos and information on hot flashes, the alternative treatments, and so forth to help you. So check out hotflashrescuekit.com and find out what's there, because there's a whole host of treatments. We'll talk about a little of it now, because what about summer? It's all, Joanne, first of all, I hope that begins to be helpful to you. You know you're going to be in menopause. There's things that you can do. If we could talk, or I could be involved with you, I could get information from you that would allow me to help you. So sometimes you need more than a question can be answered in this format. Now, in the summer, while people are thinking about it's time to go to the beach or time to have a picnic, women, the millions of women who are in menopause, are thinking about, man, this hot weather is killer because I'm having hot flashes and I feel like I'm on fire. And the reason that you feel that way is because your skin temperature, when you have a hot flash, goes up between 5 and 7 degrees. 5 to 7 degrees. That means your face feels like it's somewhere around 103 to 105 degrees. You know, could you imagine if you had a fever and you were 105 degrees? Hi, how are you, Carol? Nice to see you here. You know, this reminds me to say, if you're here, let me know. I love to know that you're here. I'm so appreciative, Carol, that you're letting me know. And please share this with your friends so they can get this information, because, you know, you're getting one of America's leading experts here, and you're going to have time to ask questions. And sometimes it's pretty hard to get information when you go to the doctor, because often the visits are only about 8 minutes. Well, anyway, when we talk about it, what causes a hot flash? Well, what happens is that the blood vessels that are underneath the skin want to get rid of the heat because you're hot and it's already hot outside, so you're going to have that sense of being overheated. So your blood vessels start to dilate under the skin, and that releases all of this heat, and it causes sweating. And then the sweat is designed to evaporate. And it is evaporating, which then leaves you feeling, you already, drenched your shirt or your blouse and you're kind of wet. Then you evaporate all of that sweat. Now you're cold, so you get the chills that follow. And your face gets blotchy and red, and your chest gets red from all the blood vessels dilating. Then you're cold, and then, wait an hour or 2 or 5, and it starts all over again. So that's going on. And then what ends up happening is, if it happens at night and you have the hot flashes at night, they call them night sweats, and then when that happens, well, gosh, it's pretty hard to sleep like that. So you end up waking up tired. And, hey, Rhonda, how are you? I hope you are doing great. Thanks for saying hello. And I saw you recently, and it was great to see you. I want to say that what happens, you have all that heat and you have all that sweat, and then you have the sleep disruption, and it's terrible. And so then the next day you wake up and you're foggy and you can't think too clearly, and it's hard to get to work on time, and it's hard to stay focused. Not to mention the lower hormones in your brain are causing these impacts as well. So it's a big challenge. And so what ends up happening is the heat is a big issue. So to the extent that you can stay cool, you know, if you're going to be at the beach, you may have more hot flashes. If you don't have air conditioning, you may have more hot flashes. If you're going to be in a room where there's a lot of people and it gets kind of stuffy in there, you may have hot flashes. So, you know, if you're at work and this is a big issue, if you have a fan, sometimes it's just, well, it's one of these kind of fans. I mean, these work pretty good. This works pretty good. And as I have been many places and I see the women sitting there fanning themselves, I know exactly what's going on for them. And but you can get these little small electric fans like that rotate or oscillate on your desk. If you can get that, it's great. If you can sit by a window, if there is a window, if it's a window that opens, because a lot of the office buildings, the windows don't. But if you can, and you can let some cool air in, that's good. Or sit near a duct that's letting out the air conditioning, that can be helpful. So those are things that are helpful. And then sometimes if you have a ice that's available nearby, you can take a piece of cloth or, you know, a towel or something like that, a swath of cloth. You can put the ice cubes in it and kind of roll it and then put it on the back of your neck. That can be helpful. Dressing in layers can be helpful because you can take off the outer blouse or whatever. If you have underneath, you have on clothing that's in layers, then you're in a position then to cool down just by getting rid of some of the heat of your clothing. And you can sip cold drinks. I mean, these are real things that can be very helpful. Then in addition, beyond these kind of mechanical things, there are also behavioral things you can try, like cognitive behavioral therapy can be helpful for some people. And yoga, Tai Chi, meditation, all of these things have, for some people, been helpful, although the cognitive behavioral therapy is the one that has the most studies that show it's effective. Then you go into the over-the-counter supplements. And then if you get into that, you're into products that are like black cohosh or soy, the soy isoflavones, which is the estrogen, plant estrogens that are in the soy, can be very helpful. Or there are things like flaxseed, which helps some women. That has to be ground up, not the seeds, because the seeds won't digest. They just pass straight through. Other people are using other products that are out. There's a number of products that are on the market. Some that are just starting to come out now, and sea buckthorn is one that's out there. There's another one that is available on the internet. There are a lot of products out, and I could talk about them individually, but there's so many it's hard to mention every one of them. Hey Wanda, how are you tonight? Nice to have you joining. And so anyway, those are things that can be helpful. And there are also people that get benefit. There's some studies out with things like acupuncture. But you got to find an acupuncturist that knows about the menopause symptoms and what to do about it, because, you know, they're putting needles into these zones that help with the hot flashes. And so anyway, that's another round, the over-the-counter products. Then you get to the prescription products that are not estrogen. Now, the prescription products include things, the one that's approved right now is it's called Brisdale. Brisdale is the antidepressant medicine paroxetine, but Brisdale is not in a dose that's high enough to prevent depression, but it can be very helpful for some women, and they have a number of studies on it showing that it's effective. So that's one that you can talk with your providers about. And now there's a new one. I'm talking tomorrow with a company that has a product that's in studies right now, and it works in the brain. You don't shoot it in the brain. It's an injection, but it works on a different part of the brain. It's a non-estrogen, and it causes the part of the brain that stimulates hot flashes to stop doing that. It antagonizes that. And I don't think it's quite ready yet for sale. It's going to be available probably in about a year, I would say. But it's going to be interesting as another option for avoiding estrogen if you don't want to take estrogen. And then there's hormones for hot flashes, which actually are very, very effective. But some people are more at risk for taking them than other people. If you're not at risk, particularly if you're in the first 5 to 10 years since you went through menopause, hormones can be very beneficial and actually lower your risk of hot flashes more effectively than any other product on the market. Although all the ones I've been talking about are helpful for some people. So anyway, let's pause for a minute. Have you any questions about this? Because I want to be able to try and address your questions. And now's a good time, in a natural pause, to just talk about it. Anything you'd like to ask. And remember, please, to share when you can, so that some of your friends have an interest in this. They can get the benefit of hearing what we're talking about. Because hot flashes is so common, let's get it to as many people as we can. I want to mention to you that this is brought to you by my magazine, which is called HotYearsMag.com. HotYearsMag.com. It's the #1 digital magazine for menopause. The #1 magazine for menopause. It is digital. It's good for, it works for your phones, or it works for your iPad, or it works for your computer, or for anything. And here's some examples of it back here. Hot Years Mag, and here's Mary Lou Henner, who used to be on Taxi, and she was on other programs. I had a lot of fun interviewing her. We talked about sensitive bladder, but we have a ton of people that I've interviewed through the years. The most recent one, I don't have the cover of it up here, but we did Ann Louise Gittleman, and it was about nutrition in menopause and what you should be eating. And it's free. All you have to do is just go to HotYearsMag.com and download it, and you will be able to get all these articles. And also I do interviews. When I go to the different medical meetings, I go as the press, and I actually interview the people who are giving the talks. And so when the talks are over, I nab them, we go to the press room, and I do videos. And there's a number of videos that are in the magazine that you can get the same information as the medical community got just a short while ago, and get the latest scoops on things that are going on. So it's pretty cool to see that. And there's also some opportunities to download stuff and other things to know about. So I hope you will check out HotYearsMag.com. So hot flashes are really something that is disruptive, and one of the areas that it's disruptive in is in the workplace, because it's pretty hard when you're at work to be trying to focus on your task and to suddenly start having hot flashes. It's very disruptive, and it causes people to get forgetful, to get less effective. It causes people to oversleep or be tired at work. And it turns out that, and this is an amazing number I'm about to tell you, but hot flashes, women who don't get treatment for hot flashes end up across the country, as a country, is responsible for about 50 million extra doctor's visits per year related to hot flashes. That's huge. I mean, it's a huge issue. And imagine all the cost of that. It's about $14 billion that the country is paying in terms of lost productivity and also in terms of the doctor's visits and all the health-related testing. And here's the thing, many of the people don't even know that they're having issues related to perimenopause and menopause. They just know they don't feel right, they're feeling warm, they're feeling hot flashes, and so they end up going and they don't get the treatment because sometimes it's not clear what it is that's the underlying problem, which typically is menopause. Not always, but typically. So anyway, I wanted to talk about this. And so in the summer, which is upon us, it's going to be about 4 weeks till we get to summer. It's usually June 1 is summer. Hi, Kim. How are you? Thanks for saying hello. And I appreciate that. Please share this with your friends so that other people can join us. And if you have questions, please enter them now so I can try to help you with that. And if you're coming to this as a recording after it's over, we're live now, but if you come to this late, I will check back and see if you have questions, and I will try to answer those questions for you. So please don't hesitate to put your questions so that we can help you while you're here. So I wanted to talk anyway about the hot flashes because it's so important. And if you haven't picked up a copy of my book, The Estrogen Fix, this has been a best-selling book. It has so much information about hormones, explains how to take them safely and effectively, but also has information about alternatives to hormones, because for some people they won't want to take hormones and some people can't take them for several reasons. The majority of women, though, will be able to take them, and the latest data shows that estrogen and hormone therapy is both safe and effective. And on another occasion, we can dive deep into that because it really is a big issue. Because today, out of fear of taking hormones, there are 80% fewer women taking hormones today than there were in 2002. So all those years ago, when the study came out that incorrectly reported the risks of taking hormones, all these millions of women threw away their hormones, and many of the doctors got afraid to prescribe them because they didn't realize things had changed and haven't been aware of the updates that have come out. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you about the summer and hot flashes. I'm happy to answer your questions if you have them, because we're here together and it'd be my pleasure to try to help you in any way that I can. So if you have questions, please do share them now. If you want to say hi, I always love to know who's here and watching, so do say hi. And please share with your friends because they can get the benefit of what we talk about. And what I really think is helpful is so many people have questions and don't know where to ask, and you're here, so you might as well ask your questions. If you're here and you're watching, you probably have some things on your mind that are troubling you, or you're curious about, or you hope to find out about. So do share that now so I can try to be helpful. Rhonda's asking, do I think peppermint spray on the back of the neck helps? You know, aromatherapy and smells are very personal. The most popular is lavender, but some people have said that peppermint spray is helpful, particularly if it's cool, it's helpful. Even water is good if it's cool. So if you have spray, some kind of a spritzer, I'm not talking about something that's going to like hose down the back of your neck, but if you have a mist, something that can put a mist out and you can fill it with cool fluid, it's going to be helpful. But peppermint in particular does help some women. And like I say, everything helps some people and nothing helps everyone. So try it, Rhonda, see if it works for you. But you may find that just the coolness of it, in the wetness of it, which when it evaporates, just like a hot flash, is going to give you a sense of coolness. You may find that it is very helpful. There's no risk to it. There's not much cost to it. So I would definitely try it And I think the back of the neck is a particularly helpful place. Even a damp cloth, you know, if you take like a face cloth and put cold water or ice cubes in it and put it on the back of your neck, that also is helpful. So try it and let me know what you find when you use it and what you thought about it. You know, probably for menopause, lavender is the most popular, but peppermint also is one that women I know do try it. It does help some people, I know. Any other questions, comments, thoughts? I'm happy to address them while we're here. And please let me know. And I'll tell you, I'm here each Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And I hope you'll let your friends know. I hope you will share this. And I hope you will join me each week, because I'm here just for you, because otherwise, there are definitely other things could be doing, but I want to have the opportunity to be of help. Hi, Kim. How can I stop night sweats when asleep? Well, if you're asleep, it's kind of hard to stop them at that time, but the best way to do it is have the covers where you can take them on and off, to have the room as cool. The best thing is to have the room cool. You want to have the room about 68 degrees. That's the best temperature. If you're taking something to help your hot flashes, if you're taking something, the best time to take it is at bedtime, because you'll have the highest levels in your bloodstream. So say you're taking a hormone, or say you're taking another approach, take it at bedtime so that the blood levels are peak when you're sleeping. The other things, you know, some people will put, like, you know, those frozen, like those frozen ice things that go in the freezer, and then you take them out to put in your ice chest. People will do something like take those and put them underneath their pillow, keep the pillow cold, keep the pillow flipped over so that the top of the pillow is cool. It's the coolness that is helpful. If you do slow, deep breathing, that is helpful. Really slow breathing through it can be very helpful. People who do meditation, if you aren't doing meditation, that is a very helpful thing. And you can get apps. There's a number of apps that are available to teach you meditations. Meditation can be a useful tool, and you can do those particularly right before bedtime. One thing that's really helpful is to cut out any stress that you can. I mean, this may sound very simplistic, but I'm telling you it can matter. I mean, I find watching the news makes me anxious. There's so much stuff going on in the news. I mean, you could just watch. I mean, the news has become reality TV, let's face it. You can be for or against any party, but it's absolutely nonstop stuff. And it makes me anxious. I go to bed, I'm thinking about that. So the good news is if you don't watch, there is no good news. So the best thing is avoid the news at night, but try to avoid stressful things at bedtime. Try not to take a nightcap if you drink alcohol. Don't drink it at bedtime, because it can be a trigger for hot flashes. Big meals, spicy foods, so watch what you eat before bedtime. Certain medications are a trigger for hot flashes, so if you're taking other medications or other products, be cautious about what they are, because they can be a trigger. So those are some things that you can do before bedtime. So, but if it continues, then you need to talk with your healthcare provider and see about getting treatments that will help you through the night, because there are options for you that you need to know about. But hopefully those are some of the things that can be helpful to you. Any other questions or comments at this time? We have just a few more minutes, but I'm happy to answer anything. And Kim, thank you very much for being brave and asking your question. I know sometimes it's hard to kind of show you're here, but I appreciate that you did. And again, if you will share this with friends when people come back to look at it, if they do have questions, I will try to answer them over the next day or so. So if you are coming to this as a recording, do put your questions in and let's see what we can do to help you. Any other comments or questions at this time? Okay, well, I'm going to just say again to please check out the hotyearsmag.com. And also, you can take the menopause quiz and find out how much your symptoms are affecting you by going to menopausequiz.com. Menopausequiz.com. It's a 2-minute quiz that will give you an automatic feedback on the issues that are bothering you. This is Anne-Marie. Hi, Anne-Marie. I went through early onset menopause at 32 and am now 54. I was on HRT for about 10 years. That's great. And stopped taking them because that study. I still wake up sweating in the middle of the night and then get chills. Is HRT something I should, and I'm going to imagine, should be thinking about? Okay, well, here's the thing. 32, you took it till you were 42, now you're 54. So it's been about 12 years that you've been off of it. So here's the thing. You're still young at 54, and if you're having these symptoms, when you've come off of HRT and then you go back on HRT after about a 10-year window, there is a little bit more risk with it. And unfortunately, this is not something uncommon. There were a lot of people who quit because of the Women's Health Initiative study. And that's too bad because so much of that data wasn't right. And women who go into early menopause are at particularly increased risk for heart disease and other things if they don't go on estrogen. Now, the good news is you were on it for 10 years, and that's awesome because that was definitely helpful to you. And also not only to you then, but it's also helpful to you for the rest of your life. So that was a really important thing. But you might want to consider other treatments. We talked about the Brisdale as one, Brisdale, B-R-I-S-D-E-L-L-E, some of the alternative approaches. There's a number of things to try, which I would try other things first. And if nothing else works, and you continue to have really bad symptoms of waking up and sweating, then you have to individualize that with your doctor. Now, there's some tricks for trying to sort out who's at more risk and less risk with certain blood tests and so forth, but it's more than I can go into here. But if you continue to have symptoms and you want to explore this, you can go to menopausecoaching.com, menopausecoaching.com, and I do coaching by phone for people who are far away. And we could talk about it and walk you through what your options are, what blood tests you need to get to tease it out and so forth. But I would reserve estrogen or HRT after you've tried the other things and then come back to it if those things don't help you resolve your hot flashes. So I hope that's helpful, Anne-Marie, and thank you for asking. Where are you from? It's always interesting to see because sometimes we have people from around the United States, but sometimes I've had people from Australia. You're very welcome. We have people calling in from England, not infrequently. We have people sometimes from New Zealand, Iceland, and so forth. So it's always fun to know where people are from and just to see. From Worcester, Mass. Well, that's not too far. That's not too far down the road. I worked at UMass for a number of years, but now I'm at Beth Israel Hospital in Boston at Harvard Medical School, where I was for 20 years before I left to go to Worcester. So, well, welcome and thank you for joining this evening. Okay, well, I'm going to wrap up now, and if I can be of help to you, let me know. Please share this with others. Check out the menopause quiz. You can get the menopausequiz.com and take a 2-minute quiz, see where you are in how much menopause is affecting you, And do get the magazine, for goodness sakes. The quiz is free, the Hot Years mag is free, and it's awesome. So I look forward to seeing you next week, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. If you have questions ahead of time, let me know. You can go to askdrmaish.com or just let me know, and if I can help you, if you send it to me, I'm going to definitely read it on here, and I'll have more time to go through it. But anyway, thanks so much for joining me. I look forward, hopefully, to seeing you next week or on other occasions. Remember, it's better to stay well than to get well. So stay well.